welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Talking before the show, kind of what we were going to talk about, getting this ready. This is a lot to unpack because you are investing from a location that most people, when they come, I can't invest, Corey, because my market sucks or, whatever. But here you are in Israel doing major deals in the United States. Let's talk about that journey, because there's a lot of stuff for us, I think, to unpack and really showcase on. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's a matter about mindset and how you did it.
That's true. That's true. We are just after the NBA final, right? So, forgot his name, but he has a story where he said he will be on the NBA. He said he want to be strong. He want to get the finals, and he did it. So it's all about the mindset. That's an inspiration, and I'm an inspiration to people in Israel. But you, as example, you're inspiration to me. So, but we all in the journey, right? We're on the journey to achieve what we dream, and it's all about start the way, go and do it, and be persistent, right? So I'm a persistent guy, and I never quit until I get it.
All right, that's what I love. So, how did you get into real estate? Give me your first, let's back up a little bit and say, you just didn't start in multifamily.
Yeah, no, I didn't. It was 13 years ago. I was in IT. I was a Java programmer. I was working on computer all day, right? Didn't know anything about business, working with people, negotiation, nothing of that. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the Bible of real estate investors, right? And I got I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Everything I thought about was wrong. I said to my father, you told me go to school, get education, find a job, you will be fine. What fine? I'm fired and I didn't find a job. So I decided I'm going to do the journey. I started buying in Israel, but the market in Israel is small and very, very expensive. You can buy a house here less than $500,000, in a bad neighborhood.
Right.
So it's very expensive. So after 2 years, I heard about the crash in America. It was 2010. I decided to start buying houses in the state. I didn't know how to do it. I knew how to buy in Israel. I didn't know how to buy it. But, Americans are so lucky. They don't know how lucky they are. You have bigger pockets. You have people sharing information, right? You can call somebody and it will help you. And when I try to reach out to people, they told me how they do it, and people are from California, buying in Cleveland, buying in Florida, they buy far away. So you actually can copy, the process. So who cares that I need to fly 24 hours? I'm flying 24 hours, right? All the way. And they need to fly 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
We will both gonna get
the mindset's still the same, right? So but let's unpack that for just a minute, because you IT guys. So I got to think of, when I think of IT guys, I don't think of car salesmen. I think of a guy that likes numbers and very exact and
very cautious. And very, very cautious.
I want to see step 1, step 2, step 3. Right? You read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it blows your mind. Boom! I'm doing my dad said do it, and I did it, and I'm to the point where you're like, wait a second, I'm going to be doing Groundhog Day forever, and I'm ready to get off the tracks. I'm off this train. And you trade that ideal for the unknown.
Right.
Congratulations, brother, by the way.
Thank you.
Because that in itself, I think that's what happens to us, though, as investors. You were going a different way, because I have the exact same experience. I was going, and then something happened, and it was that book that radically changes you, and it makes you like, wait a second, there's a different way. Now from there, you got to start being resourceful, right? Because you're like, okay, so I understand the concept of real estate. I'm going to go try it in my own market, and then you hit your first roadblocks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but you learn. I learned that you need to be like water. Water always find a way to pass the wall, right? They reach the wall, they find a way, right? So you got to find a way to do it. That's one of the things that I always tell also to my students. You got to find a way. So, from Israel, I said to myself, okay, I need to find an area that is good location. It doesn't have to be A-class location. It should be a good location, right? I need to know how much a property renovated property cost in the area, so sold. I need to figure this out. I need an attorney, so I want to have an attorney. So even though we know we don't have in the single family home attorneys, but I need an attorney to make sure that I will be the owner eventually, right?
Yep.
And if I buy below market value, and I did a mistake with the contractor, I still have a room, right? Yeah. That's simple. It's not that difficult, right? I simplified the process for myself. So,
well, that's part of it, and that is your background, right?
Sorry?
I said, I think that is your background in that, here's a process, because you start putting in things like processes, right?
Right. So, but I try, because I'm very detail oriented, I learned about myself in the first 2 years in Israel that I need to, so people from IT, usually they go from the details up, and it's a problem because you never finish with the details. So what I started to do is from the top to bottom. I said, okay, I need to have a simple process without thinking about the details. So I need to work on that. Then I will go start and understand how do I protect myself? How do I know what is that this is a good market? How do I know that, that what are the prices? And in America, I said, you are very lucky. Everything is reachable.
Google it, right? You Google it and you find it.
Yeah, everything you can find an owner, right? In Israel, you can find an owner. It's not open. In America, you can find an owner. You can do so many search and understand what's, and so by talking with, investors, agents, management companies, attorneys, inspections, all of that, I built a simple process and started, and I bought my first house. There were, of course, the contractor, suddenly, said instead of 10, it became 14. Okay. But I still made money because I bought low, right? I bought it like 30% below market value. You can make, even if the rehab goes up, you still have room to
give yourself your margin of error. So you did everything right. Now, and you didn't create any of this kind of on your own. You actually used other people's systems and processes, right?
Right.
In America, you took the information, found the right information for what you needed, because there's enough people that are teaching virtual buying, virtual wholesaling, virtual everything, right?
Yeah, I learned at the beginning. I didn't took a mentor. I didn't feel comfortable to do it. But once I started to do, buy and hold and wanted to go the fix and flip, I took a mentor. I wanted to do virtual wholesaling. I took a mentor and started. And I said, it's all about trying and error. I said, what will go wrong? Everything is an investment. Everything you put. For me, I say, I'm going to do real estate for 30 years. So what went wrong now? It's the profit ladder, right? Yeah. So it's all about investment. It's not about losing money. Most people are afraid to lose money, right? When they do the first investment, right? But when you're afraid, you don't act, right? So you gotta do your best.
You have to be willing to make the mistakes, right?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. All right. So, so you figure out the single family space, but there's this new itch that happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that. How did you get in the multi?
So I always wanted to do multifamily. I always wanted to, I dreamt big, but I didn't, I read the Donald Trump books, long time ago, right before he was president, etc. And he thought about think big, right? And I thought about that, but I thought that, in order to do that, you got to have a lot of money, right? It's not, I didn't hear about
It's the rich man
syndication.
thing.
Yeah, I didn't hear about syndication, and it's that, everyone can do it, right? So it took me a while until I got tired. I didn't get excited anymore from fix and flip. I made money, but I didn't feel like there is a scalable here. I wanted to do millions. I wanted to have a new challenge. I'm a guy who likes challenges. It's not about money. You make money, it's in the bank, but that's not exciting anymore, right?
Right.
It's the achievement, right?
It's the
process. It's the achieving. It's the roadblock that you say to yourself, okay, I got to figure this out. I got to keep trying.
All right, I gotta stop you right there for just a second, because I preach this all the time, and you just said it again. So I want everybody to listen to this right now. Here is another person that has said exactly what. Eventually, money is not the game. We all think it is. We first come in, I do it because I want to make more money. Listen, you will get there, and where money is like, I'm making money, but it's not it. It's about something else. And I call it legacy in my mind, right? But it's something way bigger that keeps that drive. And I think that's why we all attract to that multifamily space, because now we're playing a big boy game.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Listen, I look at that as sports. It's really like sports, right? Yeah. You can lose a deal, you make offer and you lose a deal to somebody else, which is fine, and you need to figure this out. For example, we had a small conversation before we started recording that I lost best and final like a week ago because somebody came and did a non-refundable, no early access, meaning he's day one, put money, and he's taking a risk, right? And I said to myself, okay, I lost the deal to him. How do I next time be able to beat somebody else, right, and get the deal? So it's a challenge. So now I need to work on my process. I have I have like a sketching that I'm throwing ways to do it. I'm talking with people, trying to get the way to do it, and eventually I will do it. I know I will do it. I will bypass that and make a good deal. But that's what's exciting, right?
Yes, that's the fun part. Okay, so tell me kind of about your first multifamily deal. How did you find it and source it, and how did you fund it? Coming from the single family side to go into multi, how did you kind of put all that together?
So it was of course it was a process. So the first deal I actually didn't source. So I had a mentor, and the mentor, he was the lead sponsor. And I said, I want to be part of a deal. I said, I need a track record. I want to have a track record and make money and get experience, right? Yeah. So I raise funds in Israel. So I'm the top mentor in Israel. I teach people how to buy houses. I have more than 1,000 students in Israel. I said, okay, I will try to raise 300, 500, and I raised $1 million in 2 weeks. I didn't know I can do it, because I used to raise funds for single family, like 50, 100, I didn't do it so much. So suddenly I was raising $1 million in 2 weeks. I said, okay, that's a way to be in the game. Man.
That's the way to be in the game, right? You could add value to a lead sponsor real quick and then get your experience at the same time.
Yeah. And what I do the asset management too. So I'm doing the weekly reports, we're going over the weekly reports and monthly reports. And because my investors are speaking Hebrew, right? So I translate everything. I'm generating the reports to them. I'm asking questions to the management company and the other sponsor will the deal. And I'm doing asset management, and I do it not just to take care of my investor. Also, I did it for to learn, to see, because you have a planned budget, right? You plan what you want to achieve in the property, and then there is reality, and you want to see what are you aligned with with what you predicted, and if not, why not, right? So you learn a lot of by doing that, and that's gave me the track record. And brokers at the beginning didn't take me for, they act like I'm another buyer, even though it was 3 years ago. Today is even crazier, but 3 years ago, there was always somebody who was more experienced than you. So the off-market deals didn't came to me at first, but after 2 years, I got a call from a broker that I already worked with him, underwrote the deal. I was consistent, underwriting deals, making offer, underwriting deals, making offer, underwriting deals, making offer. Always follow up with them. I saw it like a business where you have a marketing and sales. So there is always, I say, even if you are the worst salesman in the world, you have a conversion rate, right?
Yes.
Right? There is a conversion rate. So it's all about keep doing it until you convert. That's it. That's how I look at it. Okay. So you need to be better, better at that. So that's what it is.
Right. Yeah. It's like batting practice, right? You got to keep swinging away. Eventually you'll get a little bit better. You'll get a better closing percentage. You'll get more hits, but that is that consistency track record for the broker, because brokers don't care until you make them care, until they finally feel like they know you.
Yeah. And they see you don't go anywhere. That's one of the things I always tell, I used to tell brokers, listen, I'm not going anywhere. I'm patient. I know you have other buyers. I know how it works. You have other buyers. I respect that. No worries. I'm just asking you to give me the shot when you can. That's it. When you can, give me the shot. And so one of the brokers, he said, Rafi, you underwrote this deal. The deal fell through. I will give you a shot.
Boom.
Boom. Then I got my deal. So, and while I was doing it,
that was the first, and that one was really, even though it wasn't your first, that was the one you did all by yourself.
All by myself. Yeah. Of course, I still work with my lead sponsor, but I have more roles.
Put the deal together, but you've now sourced it. It's more considered your deal in your mind, right?
Yeah.
The other ones was his deal that you participated in, but this is Rafi's deal.
Yes, of course. And
how did it feel though?
Well, it was great. It was great. It's not about the money. It's about the achievement. And it's not the achievement. If it was easy, right? If it was easy, you never cherish it right? Because it's not because it was hard. It's because you needed to solve things on the way, right? So, and it's actually fun. I like doing it. I like the challenge. For me, it's I can be awake 2 a.m. in the morning because the time different. And American asked me, don't you go to sleep? Don't you ever sleep? I said, I'm not tired. It's fun. Right.
Whatever you got to do in Israel to make it work in the U.S., man. Yeah. That is awesome, though. See, but what I see is that and what I hear, Rafi, is the determination factor, right? Meaning, like you said, I wrote it down. And this is like Bruce Lee, but be like water, my friend, right? Water can flow. It finds the way all the way down to the bottom of the cup, no matter what you put in, right?
Right. It will always find a way.
Always.
So, it's like, that's how I see it. It's like you get in the car, you know where you want to go, and you have, how do you say, a tire, when your tire explode or something.
Yeah, blowout.
Yeah. So now you're stuck on the way. So you wanted to drive 5 hours, now it's 7 or 8, but eventually you get there, right?
Yeah.
So it just,
so it's time and consistency. That's the recipe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And and I say also being honest. That's one of the key that I keep doing. Being honest, always be honest. That's I think one of the key to my success is that I'm an honest guy. I will tell people in the face, what I think, even though sometimes, people tell me, I'm not rude, but he tell me, listen, Americans don't do that. But I say, I don't care. I prefer being honest. And I think broker likes that. People like it. And,
So how big was that first deal that you did, Rafi, the one that you found?
8 million.
8 million. How much money did you raise?
We raised 2.5 in 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a killing deal. We bought it for 56 a door. And it was worth in the market. We saw trading for 64. We are just selling it now for 90 a door.
Oh, so you bought it for, how much did you buy it for? 12. Wait.
50. It was 56, 136, 56.
I mean,
a door. I'm calculating. I'm not a 7,616,000, and we are selling it for 90 a door. 136. 12,240,000. Around that.
Gabby, my friend, like it's 6 million, almost $5 to $6 million of profit.
Yeah.
And you started, I mean, for anybody, I always say, man, like it doesn't take too many really cool apartment deals to move the needle, like just not a little, but a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the end, like when you actually get rid of them and you sell one for a lot of money, that profit can be used then to really catapult you on your next deals, right?
Yeah.
You didn't stop. You didn't stop. You don't like, oh, I bought that one deal and I stopped. You've kept going. You now have what you said, like 766 units, 6 deals.
Yeah, and we are selling another one.
Right? Yeah, some of them are ready to sell, and some of them you're still looking to buy when you can.
Yeah, but again, I'm an honest guy. We are so also lucky because of the market, right? Or we are smart because of the market. For me, it's a lesson. I learned a lot, and I want to be better on the next cycle, right? Because let's say, be honest, we are lucky, right? The market is crazy now.
Right now we all look good.
Yeah, right. So,
but wait till that tide goes back, right? We'll see who's naked and who's got clothes on, right?
Who is a good operator? And I gotta say, there are things I learned that next time I will do better, right? From asset management part, So, I learned a lot on the asset, and I think in the industrial, again, being honest, not a lot of people talk about the asset management part.
No,
they talk about getting a deal done. But what about the asset management?
It's really about operations. Operations where the money's made anyways, right? You've got to be a good operator. And either you hire really good management companies, which I think that's the key to this. And then what the asset manager does, in my opinion, is make sure that they're doing it to your vision.
Right.
Make sure that, when you say, hey, I want like for me, I like USB plugins in all my turns in the kitchen and the baths. And when I don't see it happening, I get freaked out, right? Because like I teach it, like that's my little value add that I add. Doesn't cost a lot of money, but I like on these 80s, 90s products, everybody's got power. Everybody's got stuff they need to plug in. And you put a little USB plug in by the kitchen, like, I don't know, mom and dad think that's cool, or people that rent it think it's cool.
Yeah, it's a value add, and it distinguish yourself from your properties from the others.
Yeah, too. Exactly. And it's like that little of a thing, right?
Yeah, I agree. So I learned that asset management, I learned from doing that things on the next round of deals that I will do, I want to get better on how to do it.
What do you want to get better at? Can you give us a couple examples?
You said you asked for tips? Sorry.
Well, yeah, a couple examples of what you'd want to get better at. So
Okay. For example, one of the things I've not done before is the working capital. So working capital, we didn't raise enough. So banks are banks are slow, or they have their own time, let's say. So sometimes you need to wait for them, and now you can turn a unit. Now you need to renew instead of, take the tenants out and renovate it, right? Because you don't have enough funds. So it took more time to do that. So Working capital. So I budget now around 30% of renovation for working capital. But what I do, if I do a bridge, once I finish the bridge, once I do the refinance, I will give back the working capital.
Yeah, get it back off your plate. I think that's super smart, right? Meaning, and you do that with a call option, everybody. So if you have when you're creating your PPM, you can create call options in your PPM to where you can return everybody's money as long as you pay them their return. So it's a very easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of different ways to do it, but like however you structure it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And what you're talking about too, like for everybody that's listening right now, what he's talking about is the problem is you do a loan and they say, hey, Rafi, we're going to give you this loan and we're going to fund 100% of your capital expenditures, your CapEx, your budget. And you're like, and you may have, I got an $800,000 budget. They're like, great, no problem. We'll finance it. But what they don't tell you is that it's very slow and like sometimes pulling teeth for them to give you back your money.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're trying to run your property very efficiently. And if you don't have enough working capital, then you're relying you slow your whole pace based on the bank's process of turning that money.
Yeah, and you still need to pay the preferred, right? So now you say, okay, let's stop with the preferred because we don't want to stop. It's better. I prefer not pay the preferred now than stop the renovation and that. So it was very thin. So now I budget 30%, which it's a lot, I think.
Yeah,
it's plenty.
But that and because now that gives you, so you can start doing renovations. You're buying and paying for stuff, and then you submit all these paid invoices to the lender. They give you, and then they replenish your coffers. Meanwhile, you're keeping on renovating, doing all the things you're planning on doing, without much. Slow time in the process because you're working that.
Yeah.
Tip, by the way, because that is a big deal. I've been a victim of it. I've made that mistake. And we've just learned the same way you did. It happens to you once, you're like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to be held hostage anymore to the banks giving me money when they're like, they all say, wouldn't you say, Rafi, that they all say it's going to be easy. Every loan, oh yeah, this is the process, real simple.
Yeah.
They lying.
It takes time. Yeah.
Because then they go back to their loan agreements and their docs and say, well, it's all easy, but you've got to have it lined up exactly like it says in this document, or it's going to get kicked back.
Yeah. And inspection are not coming in time. And
it's going to be 2 weeks before we get our guy out there to say that you did what you did. And until that happens, we can't release the funds.
Yeah, and everything's slow. So that's one. Another tip is when you take over, first thing you need to do is make sure that you have traffic. Because usually, new management and new ownership, tenants will try doing stuff, somebody will skip, and you need to have a traffic. So make sure you have a traffic. Pay attention to that, right? I think that's one of the.
That's a good
one of the things that I next time I will pay attention before I buy. What is the traffic, and make sure we have the right traffic to the property.
Right. So you're marketing. So you don't want people to stop because, and this is another good one because when you're usually taking over a value add for a reason. There's not great management in place, and there's probably some deferred maintenance, meaning they're just not managing it like it should. Once you come in with a new management company, it's usually you're way more rigid on this is our structure, this process, and people start like, oh, that's not because they've been training the other management company how they want it to be. You come with rules and procedures, they want to find a way to leave.
Yeah, and people leave.
Replacement tenants for them. And make sure that's what you're saying. Make sure you have the traffic and really keep an eye on it, so you can turn those units and put in your right tenants that's going to listen to your guys's way in the
It happened to me in 2 properties. The occupancy dropped like, from 90 something to 80, and one property to 70 was really a drop. And we had the right manager on site. That is also the right, you need to have a different management. Another thing I learned, you need the right manager on site to a different step, meaning when you're in a lease mode, right, you are doing the value add, you need somebody who's good on sales.
Aggressive, yes.
Got a sale. Then once you replace the tenants, now you see that your property is going that way.
Right?
Yeah, you need somebody who's good on, the customer care and, stabilizing and reports. And usually salesmen are not good on financials. So you gotta,
no, that's a great point. How do you now, does your current management company screen those types of applicants for you?
Yeah. So you mean for the manager on site?
Yeah. So we use the thing called predictive index. My management company does, and I've found that that's been really cool to help identify our sales people's characteristics versus the more typical manager, which is reports, detailed, right? Because those are 2 different people, right?
2 different people.
Because the sales guy is like, yeah. Report, yeah, no problem. I'll get the report, but hold on, got a guy, and gets them to sign the lease, right? And you need that, but eventually you need someone. Once you get it filled up, you need someone that's like, hold on, that I got to take care of the shit show that was just created.
Yeah.
And hopefully, listen, what I learned when I buy. That's why I buy bigger properties now. Is you can get both. I usually want a manager to be more the
Agree.
Yeah, and then that salesperson, I just want a straight up killer.
Agree.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
On smaller properties, you got to have that one person that's kind of like a unicorn.
Yeah,
you got to be able to do both a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm still not in the 200 and something units, although I submitted on a few, but I ain't got that yet.
Yet is the key word, my friend.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind you will break that code, right?
Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm working on a portfolio, off-market portfolio in Macon, Georgia. It's a big class, but it's almost a $40 million deal. Taking all together. I'm almost the only one. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'll work on that and see.
Yeah,
I will figure this out. Yeah.
Now, for everybody listening to that part too, there's another. That's a stretch, right? That one right there is stretching you.
Yeah.
And we all get stretched. That one would stretch me, I think, a little bit, right? I remember when I started, my first deals were like 3 million, 3 to 5 million. And that was like, and need about $1 or $2 million of money. Now we're doing deals where it's 24, 30 million, and the raise is like 10 to 15.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, my God, right?
Yeah.
But it stretches you and I have this. It's the right attitude, which you just said, Rafi, was I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will figure this out. I will be nervous. I will lose hair, but I will be fine eventually.
Yeah, and then you'll do it, and then you'll do another one, and then and that's just kind of what I think. The great ones. You put yourself out there where you're a little bit scared, because I think when you're nervous is when it's good. I've always, when I'm nervous, and I'm nervous right now because I've got like 3 deals back to back to back, right? 24, 17, and 12. And then another 28 million behind that. And they're all like sequential, right? Yeah. And so once I just closed one, I got 3 more coming, and 1 more that will go under contract once I sell one or buy one, right? So it's the same seller.
Yeah.
But I'm nervous. I'm nervous, bro.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's to be on the final. If we go back to sports, right?
But I feel like I'm growing, man. And so I'm at the same time, I'm super excited, just like you are. I can just tell you love what you do. Talk talk about why do you love this business, brother?
People. I think it's people. It's working with people. It's a challenge and working with people. I think that's why I love it. And also it's a fulfillment, because once I do it, I pass it over to people, because in my mission is to help others to do the same. For me, it took 10 years to start the multifamily. My students will learn about single family. It will take them 2 to 3 years, because they will see I can do it. Now they see that I can do it. Now they say to themselves, we can do it. So it's a mission. For me, I want that, the wealth, to be able to create wealth, to be achievable to everybody.
Yes.
That's something.
Right? That's the real drive too, right?
Yeah.
I found that's for myself. That's why I have this podcast, right? It's my way of giving back nuggets, right? Like your story means something to somebody listening right now. Your story is what they needed to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
If I can do it, everybody can do it. I'm a regular person, right? I'm not my students say, "Oh, Rafi," I said, "Don't do it. I'm a regular person. I'm like you. I'm only a few steps ahead. That's it."
Teach what you know, man. And keep learning, keep striving, right?
Yeah. That's why I always go with the shirt. I don't do suits, or I don't care about that. Cars, I don't care.
Yeah, it's worthless, right? It's all worthless. I totally agree, and I love that attitude, and that you're serving others as well. If you could give some advice to new students that are out there, people that are listening to this podcast, and maybe they've not done a deal, or they're just starting out, what advice would you give them?
Be part of another group, of community, or be part of people. Don't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. There are so many people who would love to help you. Always raise a hand. Somebody will help you. That's so be part of a group, part of a community. It doesn't matter.
Dude, that's huge. I'm gonna second that. That is, and then raise your hand. Don't be afraid to raise your hand.
Yeah, just say I need help. You know how many times I ask help? People come help. And that's the beautiful. That's beautiful, right? It shows that we are human, right? There will always people say they are haters, right? There will be always haters, but who cares? There are so many people who likes to help. So I call in my community, I call it together we are better. So we do things together. We help each other.
High tide rises all boats. I totally agree. Great words of wisdom. Is there any books that you're listening to right now or reading that has affected you and that you'd want to share?
No, I don't really read books. I don't know.
That's fine. No, so if just read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, I read that. That's it. I don't know. I like inspiration stories. That's it. So I can read an inspiring story, something short. See a video. That's inspiration. That touched because it touched my journey. And inspired me and remind me that I'm on my way.
Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on this show and just sharing some insight, because if Rafi can do it from Israel, I'm telling you, there is no excuse why you can't do it. I mean, if you're here in the United States, everything's here. It's easier, but it doesn't matter. If you're overseas, if you're in the military, right? Yeah. I mean, and you're stationed somewhere that's crazy far, doesn't matter. If there's a will, there's a way, right? And you're living proof, Rafi, that no matter what, if you put your mind to it, you can hit it, right?
Yeah. Look at Elon Musk. He said he's gonna, fly up, and he did it. He's not the only one. Now everybody talks about that it's possible, right? So you only need to see somebody who already achieved it, and you can do it too. That's it. That's my inspiration.
Yeah, awesome. Last little piece. If people want to find you and get a hold of you, or maybe even, I know you have an education platform as well, how would they find you?
So the education part is in Hebrew. So if somebody from America want to try and learn Hebrew, so go ahead, good luck. But no, but our website is under, and we are organizing it again. But it's Proud Communities. That's the name of the website, and they can Google Rafi Mizrahi and find it too. So,
man, listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation because I think you're just one of those just humble guys that, you know, from IT, read a book, changed your life, and you've been moving constantly in the direction that you want to go. And then you decided to teach others along the way, because it wasn't just about you. You decided that you wanted to give, and you're sharing your success with your community and helping, you know, build bridges and educate and get others to become just like you. So I think that's just a very humble calling. Very proud of you, brother. Guys, listen, if you're listening to this podcast, this is where we do it. We bring real guests just like Rafi onto the show, where there is no filters. It's just real people that found ways to do things that are extraordinary. And you are no exception, my friend. Your journey is extraordinary.
Thank you.
And I'll say this, and this is like I sign off on every show, is if you believe it, you can achieve it, and your paradise is possible.